The SNP is to unveil its election manifesto, setting out an alternative to austerity and positioning the party as a force for UK-wide change. Ahead of the launch, the party's John Swinney said the SNP would back positive and progressive policies. Current polling suggests no one party will win an overall majority on May 7 and that the Scottish Nationalists could be the UK's third largest party. Labour has rejected the idea of a coalition with the SNP. However, its leader Ed Miliband has refused to be drawn on whether another arrangement, such as a vote-by-vote deal, could be done. In other election news, David Cameron promises an annual review of the impact of further Scottish devolution on the rest of the UK. Anyone wishing to vote on May 7 must register by midnight on Monday. Labour is focusing on health, claiming there is wide support for NHS charging and privatisation among Tory councillors. Sinn Féin is to launch its election manifesto. Mr. Swinney told Radio 4's Today programme the SNP had pledged to use its influence at Westminster to ensure the next government would protect services like the NHS. He explained, the direction of travel in the health service in England is taking the health service increasingly in the direction of marketisation, which will ultimately affect the funding available to the health service in Scotland, where we don't believe in marketisation. So, there will be policy changes taken at United Kingdom level that will ultimately have an effect on Scotland by the nature of their implications for public finance. Focusing on the SNP aim of gaining fiscal autonomy over Scotland's finances, Scottish Labour accused the SNP of creating a financial bombshell, while the Liberal Democrats said the plans would be felt harshly in Scotland, if they cut the ties of pooling and sharing across the UK. Liberal Democrat Danny Alexander argued full fiscal autonomy, which would mean Scotland gaining control of all tax powers, would result in a cut of £1 billion to public services in Glasgow alone. Scottish Labour leader Jim Murphy said his party's manifesto had produced fully costed policies that would bring an end to austerity and make life fairer for working-class Scots. He added, "Now it's the SNP's turn. Their key general election policy is to cut Scotland off from UK-wide taxes, meaning an end to the UK pension and welfare state here. Their plans would drop a £40.5 billion bombshell in Scotland's finances, a bombshell that would only get bigger over time." Staying together. Scottish Conservative leader Ruth Davidson said a backroom SNP Labour deal would threaten Scotland. She urged Labour to wake up and realise the SNP's first and last priority will always be separation. Ms. Davidson is due to tell activists in Glasgow later, how can people all across the UK possibly be asked to believe a leader who claims to have the interests of a country at heart which she still wants to break up? If Nicola Sturgeon really wants to prove her constructive credentials, there's a test she has to meet. It's to accept, right now, before the election, that the United Kingdom is staying together for the next generation, in line with her own pledge, and in line with the decision made by the people of Scotland last year.